I'm Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, I have a new friend with me, and Sharon, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
I'm Sharon Levitch, and I am the CEO and founder of ACS Learning. And we create learning solutions for companies that are rolling out new system and technology. And the reason why we really exist is because a lot of times companies don't really have the bandwidth or resources to keep their programs that already exist in the learning and development area, like new hire and just their existing programs, keep those running in addition to trying to staff and create for a new system implementation. And so that's where we come in, where companies will partner with us and we will embed within an existing learning and development department, or in some cases, our customers might not even have their own training arm. And so then they outsource all of that and we come in and do all of the design, development, and execution around the learning solutions that are needed so that their customers can really adopt whatever that new system or technology is and learn how to really use that to increase their productivity and bring value to their organizations.
What size companies are you usually working with?
It ranges. We've worked with companies with 50 employees and 100,000. So it's really all over the map.
Yeah, yeah. And I can see as a business owner myself, and I'm a small business owner, right? Not a big organization, but a small one. But it is hard as you are building your organization and you're bringing people in, the training that it's involved, it's very time consuming. So if you could take that off the table for these bigger organizations or complement what they're doing, I can imagine it would be really help.
Well, and a lot of times companies don't necessarily have that expertise in instructional design and adult learning theory, and may not even necessarily have an appreciation for there's such a thing. So I sometimes encounter people that are like, I didn't know that a company like yours existed.
Yeah.
And so, it's something that, I find that that's just been a challenge sometimes because people think, oh, ACS Learning does training. Well, that'll be the last thing that we think about when we're building our big rollout, and maybe the first thing that we're going to cut if something happens with the budget. And so I find that, that's something that I've had to, to face and to really try to educate and guide customers into what the possibilities are.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What do you love about the field? What do you love about what you're doing and how you're doing and working in that area?
I have always loved being able to design and build a program. And it's really a lot of problem solving, okay, that's involved because you have to go in and figure out the requirements, do some investigating, figure out the audience, figure out the need. Maybe there may be some pain points going on. And so being able to take that information and then synthesize it into a program that actually is going to meet the needs and really provide the why for customers that are going to be consuming this particular system or technology, whether they're internal employees or whether they're a company's customers. And so I just love the aha moment that comes when you design something that is a good fit and really helps people to understand why they're doing it, what they're doing, and it helps them to do it better. So I get a lot of satisfaction from that.
Oh, I can imagine. That's amazing. Amazing that self-contained and being able to help other people, it's very cool. Very cool. Now, how would people, if they want to learn more about what you're doing and see if you would be a good fit for them, how would they learn more about you and your business?
Well, I would suggest two things. One is to follow ACS Learning on LinkedIn. They can also connect with me on LinkedIn at Sharon Levitch. I'm the only Sharon Levitch in the United States, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Wow, impressive.
And then we also have a webpage, acslearning.com, and information about how to contact us there, through email and phone and things like that. All that information is up there. And we've got a blog. We've got some success stories. We talk about our process, how we work. And so just to give an idea of, the kind of things that we do.
Yeah. And your business has been around for quite a number of years, and you've been very successful at doing it too, haven't you?
Well, this year marks a big milestone for ACS Learning. So we turn 30 on March 15th of 2023.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I'm just so humbled by that I have been allowed to participate in so many important projects and initiatives, and to be entrusted by different customers and clients along the way. And it's really given me a bird's eye view and a ringside seat to really see the evolution of technology from the early 90s up through today. And so it's just really been amazing
How
journey.
impressive. Oh my gosh. Happy anniversary. That's so impressive. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, you have been in the industry, in the working world for a very long time. You've seen a lot of things. You've experienced a lot of things, I'm sure, and you've seen the evolution of our working environment. What are some of the challenges that you have faced as a professional woman?
Well, the challenges that I have faced have not been so much related to being a woman as they've been being in this particular profession and industry. And
Okay.
so, what I have found in a lot of cases is that as technology has evolved and people have gotten more and more accustomed to using technology, in their personal lives and in their work lives, a lot of times they think, well, I don't need training. Okay. I don't need anyone to guide me through what I need to be doing or how I need to be using a particular software or product. I can figure it out. And so I've seen that be a challenge in the sense of, if people are left to kind of figure it out, then a lot of times the organizational objectives and goals for why this particular technology or system has been put in place may not be met. And so it's so important to be able to be in alignment with the company's objectives, as well as what people need to be doing with that new system or technology. And so if they're brought along the way through that conversion process, in other words, if the customer experience is really, I think, cared for, then you're going to end up with a much better result. And you're going to end up with people that are happier because they're going to know what they're using, why they're using it. And maybe there's some things that they hadn't thought about, or in some cases, you really need everybody to be doing the same thing. Everybody needs to
Yeah.
be on the same page. And so it's important for the company and for employees or even customers, okay, to have that kind of insight. And so that's where I find that a lot of times learning and development just doesn't necessarily have the importance or the gravitas, that I feel needs to be brought to the project. And so I think that's been more around that as opposed to the fact that, I'm a woman per se.
Hmm. Yeah, well, everyone has different challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've definitely experienced, the different things than other people. Everyone who comes on here says something different, and it's just great to see, one, that we have challenges, but more importantly, how do we go past them? How do we overcome them and get to the next stage, I guess you could say. Because we've all experienced different lifestyles and different work environments and things like that. And I like how you talk about working through it in the learning aspect of not just the employer, but the employee as well. Because sometimes when, you have, especially with technology, the youngsters, it's easy for them. For somebody who's a little bit more mature, we have to work at it a little bit to make it part of our new, I guess skill level.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have someone like you in the background helping them get up to speed on whatever the new thing is at the office or what they have to learn for their business, I think that's pretty cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's true. People that are in the workforce today, from, you know, Gen Z and on up, they didn't have necessarily that foundation. They didn't grow up with technology. And
Right.
so it's really kind of a different thing. Whereas, my children probably know more about what's the current tech, than I do. So it's really just kind of coming from your perspective. And that's one thing that we at ACS Learning always try to do, which is we take the end user perspective when we design instruction, when we build documentation, classes, e-learning, all of that is taken into account in terms of what their experience is, as opposed to, well, this is what the system does. Let's just cover all the features and functions. We found time that that's not really what's going to move the needle and provide that return on an investment and really give people the information that they need to be able to perform their jobs, in the most efficient and productive way. Mm-hmm. And so that's a little bit about where the name of my company comes from. ACS Learning was not the original name. We started with Applied Computer Services, ACS. And so back in the day when I first started in the early 90s, that seemed like the idea of applying your learning to what your task or job really is. And so by the late 90s, people were calling us trying to buy hardware.
Oh.
It was clear that we needed to make a change. And so that's when we took the longer name, just use the initials. And then from there, added the word learning so that it could be more of a focus on the learning solutions that we provide and the consulting services, what our core capabilities are around. So I just felt that it was more clear what the company was about.
Yeah, no, that's actually brilliant. And you know what, good for you that you had the foresight to think about that and to make the change, because it's really difficult to change a company name. There's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, you had to put a lot of thought into it. But it's not just like, oh, we're just going to change our name and everything's, just going to flow like it did. You have to now re-educate everyone. You have to do, well, in the old days, you had to do the letterhead. We don't have to do much letterhead anymore, but it's challenging to change a company name for sure, and an established company, and then still keep flowing.
And it's challenging also to evolve and change with the times.
Yes.
So when you've been in business for so long, what you did back in, 2008 isn't going to necessarily be what you need to do, in 2023. And so that's something that, I find that it used to be about every 7 years. That's starting to speed up now. So every few years, you've got to really reassess and refocus on what you're all about. So we started off doing computer training. We then moved into content development, documentation, e-learning, video. And now we're really looking more at frameworks around customer experience so that we're encouraging people to bring us in earlier on in the process where they're developing their system or technology so that we can pinpoint, we can pinpoint along the way where information and education needs to happen. So a lot of times there'll be key decision points that an end user or customer would need to make if you were, say, doing a conversion or a migration. So you need to get that information from your customer, but they don't know how to use your system yet. So you need to get them just enough so that they can make a good decision, and then you move on to the next point. So there are these various gates then that are the natural flow of, the customer journey, through this experience. And so by doing that, we're able from end to end to create the deliverables that are needed at those decision points. And then, of course, we'll create a full set of deliverables around the actual tasks involved, whether that be job aids, whether that be video, just really depending on the audience and scope and scale of the project itself. And then, of course, the follow-up. Once the system is goes into a go live state, you then need to care for what are those post go live needs. Maybe there's some system configuration, some customization or setup. And then what do you leave behind so that users can go and help themselves? Is there a system, what's going to be in place to support them once you're gone? Because that's the one thing about our company is we come in, we design, we build, we deliver, and then we move on, into another project. So we come in, do what needs to do to empower our customers, and then we leave.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's cool. So obviously you have had a wealth of experience throughout the years. And if I were to put you in a time machine and go forward, I don't know, 15, 20 years, I don't know what the number is, but what would you say your vision of retirement is?
Well, my vision of retirement, it's actually not 20 years away. It's probably a little bit closer than that. It's really just to kind of start a new chapter. I've been working in the business for a long time. I had children a little bit later in life. And so I'm in the trenches of all the school activities, sports. We're on the cusp of driving, all those things are happening. So I'm really looking forward to being able to begin a new chapter where I'm focusing on just other things. There are a lot of things that my husband and I, we have a bucket list. We'd love to travel. We'd like to try some new things. We'd like to, probably both of us want to write books. Okay. He's already written one, actually. He's ahead of
Ah,
me.
good for him.
But there's just so many other things that I have interests around that I just don't have time right now to pursue. So I'm really looking forward to that time when it comes. And I feel we'll know when it comes, that I can really just turn my attention to other interests and, hopefully maybe help some other entrepreneurs along the way with anything that I've learned that might be helpful for them.
Good. That's awesome. Well, this has been very enlightening. Thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoyed learning more about you and your company. So I appreciate you sharing your time with us.
Well, thank you, Regina, and thank you for having me.
And thank everyone else for joining us. Again, I'm Regina McCann Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management. Our website is forgewealth.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Forge Wealth, and on LinkedIn, Regina McCann Hess. Go make it a great day. And also think about what's important for your retirement vision as well. Have a great day.